Breezin Community Television had a program, they televised that meeting, but also it was poignant, the interviews outside, or all these people talking about, and these heartfelt interviews about the problems that real people are going to have with this reevaluation, how it's going to affect them very, very directly.
But even if you wouldn't, sorry.
Well, no, just, yeah, we have to be sensitive to that. Now, many jurisdictions for property taxes, let's say on long-term homeowners, we have many homeowners that have been in the Princeton since the 1940s, okay? They should probably be regarded in a way, if we can make our budget smaller and our spending less, such that the price they paid for their home, as long as they're living in that home, never changes until they leave it. And an assessment that goes way over their original cost basis would be inappropriate until the next buyer or owner of that home comes in.
So it's grandfathered, kind of like California?
They're protected, and this is really how you should be treating your seniors.
Or kind of rent control over property taxes.
Yeah, but if you're spending more money than you can afford to spend, and you're pulling out $4 million referendums on pool repairs, and you're contemplating Taj Mahal-like municipal complexes, you don't have the money to protect and give those citizens the kind of relief that they deserve.
My next question, what about the pool? Community park pool, it's reaching 45 years, it's falling apart. What should be done? Should it be tabled?
Well, look, nobody wants to close the pool, and I would be the last one to do that. My kids have used it for years and enjoy it, and it's a wonderful facility to have. But we have got to look at issues like that in the lowest, most efficient cost to maintain, repair manner available. When I hear that they want to turn parts of it or some of the structures into a more almost club-like University Fieldhouse-like facility, I get very concerned, because once again, this is money being spent or being borrowed to be spent, and this is exactly the direction we don't need to go in.
Yeah.
But I haven't studied the engineering specs and the recommendations on the pool issue closely enough to know what must be done so that it doesn't have to be closed or create an unsafe situation.
What about you personally, though? Let's say you get elected, or Stuart Duncan does. How can you mix in with this, not, I wouldn't say a clique, but these people know each other who've been municipal board. How do you get in there at the same time try to, I guess...
Well, look, you have to work with your colleagues wherever you are, whether you're in public life and sector, or you're in the private sector, and you have to get along. But at the same time, you can bring a viewpoint and a sense of looking at things in a fresh way, and ask the right questions. Anytime people ask intelligent questions and seek intelligent answers to critical issues, that's a healthy thing.
And you think colleagues will be receptive to that?
I would hope they will. Some of my friends in the news media locally have said Princeton Township committees are noticeable by their lack of open discussion and argument.
Really?
Yeah, compared to a Windsor hearing, compared to even the borough. So I'm concerned if all the decisions and the discussions are being held outside of the meeting room and not in public view, where there's a vigorous debate. Vigorous debate is something not to fear, it's something to embrace. And it's the backbone of democracy.
Is this anecdotal? How many people have said this to you? Newspaper people?
I've had 2 journalists, local journalists.
Objectively state to you that's
just make that observation. And I can't say I've witnessed it myself, but they've made that observation.
They've been there long enough. So what we, again, speaking directly to the camera, we have, and again, any Democrat who wants to come on can come on. I have to say, though, some have come on, others don't. I don't know, because of me, or maybe they don't have to.
It's you.
Maybe because also they didn't have to, because they had nothing to gain. But maybe, who knows, if we have a strong showing, maybe they do. Do you think you have a chance to win, realistically? Who are you energizing?
Well, yeah, I think if the voters come to the polls on November 2nd and begin to ask themselves 3 questions, really. 1, am I better off today in terms of my tax obligations to Princeton Township versus the services I'm receiving than I was 4 years ago, and then ask themselves, do they want stewardship of the town's budgets and expenditures to be done on a basis as if it were themselves watching and counting the money? Then they need to ask and answer that question. And thirdly, do they want people in these positions where the number one criterion for being the elected representative is not your party or whether you have a politically correct or acceptable kind of niche in the local scene. It's what's the character of that person? What do they do when no one's looking? How do they equivocate on matters of great importance? And I would submit to you that certainly in the case of Stuart Duncan, he's an outstanding person of character and has shown that throughout his career. And I certainly have tried to demonstrate that in my church work and community work with Boy Scouts and sports, assisting with my sons in all of their sports activities, Princeton Youth Hockey, other fine things that go on in this town for the last 20 years. 10 years in Princeton, but before that elsewhere. So these are the people you want representing you and counting your dollars as they flow through the machinery of local government. And so let's get back to basics. Let's get back to the way money and budgets were looked at when our grandparents and parents were young folks in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, and prove that we can do it again. Prove that we can act responsibly, spend less, provide a high quality of life for our families, and not waste the public purse.
Be interesting, go back to the original vision of the Founding Fathers on the local level and just not have political parties at the local level. Why have them? I mean, why can't everybody just run on their merits and talk?
You stepped right into my script. George Washington, in his farewell address, 220, 30 years ago.
Oh, in the New York Tavern.
That's right. He warned us about the dangers of political parties and forming partisan groups inside of government. So I couldn't agree with that more. We have to get back to looking at individuals, at their character, at what they will do when given a responsibility for protecting our interests, watching our money, our tax money, and looking over the safety and well-being of our towns and villages and governments.
It's a lot more doable on this local level too.
It certainly is. That's right.
So we're looking at Doug Miles. You're on Facebook.
Facebook, Doug Miles.
Just go on Facebook.
So comment, I like Doug Miles. Yeah.
And are you approachable? We're going to be seeing you on the campaign trail.
No, I'm going to be very approachable. We're trying to do a number of Saturdays of door-to-door. And certainly on my Facebook, you'll see a Gmail address. I've had a number of letters from voters with good questions, and I try to answer every one of them. So keep those coming. And Stuart and I will be out there, and we look forward to meeting and saying hello to many of you and to hearing of the issues that you want addressed. But we certainly know what a couple of the hot ones in Princeton are after this summer.
Mm-hmm. And if any of my Princeton PCDO, Princeton Community Democratic Organization friends try to beat me up, I'll vote
That's
for you.
my job.
And if anyone gets my property taxes lower because I feel like I'm paying rent to a non-existent apartment, I'll French kiss you, but I know you don't want that. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Don't fall for it.
But if anyone can make my property taxes go, I'll vote for them at this time. Well, breath of fresh air, quite interesting. We're going to have your partner on next month.
Thank you, Adam, very much.
And don't forget Doug Miles, Doug Miles, Facebook, approachable, candidate November 2nd. You'll be seeing more of them.